What's up, guys? It's Mitch Muller with MindsetEmpire.com, and I'm back again. It's been a little bit since I filmed a YouTube video, but in this video... Dude, shut up! Let's try this again. What's up, guys? It's Mitch Muller with MindsetEmpire.com, and in this video, I want to teach you the 5 simple steps that you can take today to start building muscle. Now, over the course of my last 10 years or so of doing this, and training consistently pretty much the entire time and trying to learn as much as I could, I've come across those 5 things that really matter. Where you can take in any type of diet or any type of, I won't say any type of diet, but multiple types of diet, different types of training, supplementation, different stuff like that. And you can compile it into these 5 categories. Now, I want to put them in order of what I feel like, in my opinion, is the best order to get them in your head, just so you can understand it. So this video is for guys who pretty much who were just like me when I started. I was skinny. I was the smallest linebacker on my football team in high school. I got killed every day in practice, and I just wanted to be big. I wanted to feel confident. And I just wanted to build muscle, and maybe that's you. Maybe you just want a little bit of muscle to your frame or to lose fat. It doesn't really matter what your goal is for your fitness journey. If you're starting off, overweight and you're trying to cut, it doesn't really matter. These 5 principles are going to help you get there, and it's going to simplify the process for you, because that's all I do with mindset, is to simplify the process. So here we go. Let's start with number 1. Number 1 is mindset. And before you say anything, I can hear you right now. People say the word mindset, and it's very cliche. It's not tangible. Different things around that. When I say mindset, when you're trying to build muscle, this is something that I had already, because I had a fear of being small when I was younger. I needed to get bigger. I needed to feel confident. I needed to feel better about myself. So my mindset was set to literally do whatever it takes in order to build muscle in a safe and effective way. So when you establish that type of mindset, like before we go into anything else, if your mind isn't right into what you're doing, if it's not prepared for, this is a 24/7 job, basically. If you're trying to build muscle, 24 hours of the day will in turn direct how much muscle that you build, depending on how you use that time. So if you aren't prepared for that, that's something that you have to prepare in your own life. And building muscle is about sacrifice. There's a lot. You can of course create balance. I've created balance in my life, my relationships, multiple businesses, and still being able to do what I do every single day and film these videos for you guys. So mindset is absolutely the first one that you would have to get down over anything else. And this comes down to, what's your why? Why are you even doing this in the first place? Most of the time, a lot of us, it comes from a place of fear or pain. Something we experienced early on, or maybe it's just a motivational thing. You could be extremely just motivated. You see someone that looks really good and you're like, man, I just want to look like them, and that just motivates you to want to do this. But your purpose has to be so compelling that it gets you out of bed in the morning, and that it's literally like pulling you out of bed in the morning, so you're just ready to go and ready to move forward. So don't take that lightly. Mindset is one of the best thing that you can do before starting any of this. If your mind isn't right and ready to make the sacrifices to build muscle, to eat, and to do all these different things, then you won't build muscle. And I'm sorry if I offend some of you people out there, but you won't build muscle. There's guys that are coming into the gym that wing it, and they barely do anything, and they're not going to get results. So this will help move on into number 2. Number 2 is your training. Now, some people will probably think like, oh, well, I thought nutrition was supposed to be your the most important thing. It's like 80% nutrition and 20% training, or whatever the hell that stupid percentage is. I'm all about 100% training, 100% nutrition, 100% everything else in order to get the results that you want. So when I say training, we're putting training ahead of nutrition. Why? Because if you aren't breaking down new muscle tissue in the gym, if you aren't getting it done in the gym, what is that nutrition going to do for you other than basic health? Normal people, that's great if you want to have basic health, but we're trying to build muscle. So let's say, for instance, these were flip-flop and you have your nutrition first. You're like, okay, I'm going to make sure I'm eating everything or whatever. If you're eating like a gram and a half of protein, even 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight a day, and you're not training the way you should, do you even need to take in that protein? No, you don't. So this is why we put training ahead of nutrition as far as what you get done in order. Now, if you watch some videos, I would suggest watching videos of Tom Platz and Ben Pakulski, even Vince Del Monte, one of my great mentors. Watch how these guys train. Watch the intensity and the effort that they put into their training. So, and this goes along with having a plan. If you have a plan of action to take to build that muscle and to take with you into the gym every single day, you're going to try hard. An example I like to use is when if you had a program that's written for you, right? Let's say that on your back day, there's only 3 exercises for back, and each of those only had 4 sets. Now, if you're following that program, it may not look like a lot on paper, but when you actually start to do it, it's like, man, okay, if I'm making every single set count the way it should, like this is all I can do today, so I'm going to make every single one of these count. That's the type of mentality you have to have when you go in to your training, and this comes along with having a program already ready for you. At the end of this video, I'm going to share something with you that you can get for free from me, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it at that. Your training is extremely important. Make sure you're breaking down your muscle fibers. And by this, there's a lot of different things that can go into this. I'm not going to touch on all of it in this video, but it comes to, if I was to summarize it, you'd be breaking down multiple types of muscle fibers within a given workout or each week. So let's say your slow twitch muscle fibers you would give attention to at the part of your workout, and maybe your fast twitch fibers where you're lifting a little bit heavier, a little bit more explosive. The slower twitch is more volume, time under tension, things like this. And the more that you learn from me, if you have my programs or anything like that, then you'll know these things and you'll be able to follow these things in order. Number 3, of course, like I said, is nutrition. Your nutrition is the staple of everything that you do. You think about it, you train in the gym 1 to 2 hours a day. Sometimes people train more, but that's generally what you need to do. And then what are you doing the rest of the time, right? What are you doing? So your meals, meal 1 to, let's say if you're having 3 meals a day right now, up it to 4. You don't need to go to 7 meals a day or 8 meals a day or anything like that. Like, be in a progressive format so that you can learn to build and adapt to that. Because if you think about it, your body is where it is right now based off of what you've done to it. So the stimulus that you've given it in the gym, the food that you've been putting into your body, like your digestive system and your gut health is going to be a reflection of the food that you're eating and the supplements you take, all that stuff. So make sure your nutrition is in order. And of course, with my programs as well, I have it all listed out of each meal of what you need to do based off of protein, carbs, and fats. Now for building muscle, I'm going to give you some specifics for this, okay? You guys can write these down because it's something that I've used from the start, and it's something that's going to be extremely important for you in order to build muscle with nutrition starting like today. So your staples, we're going to go with protein, carbs, and fats, right? Protein, my general rule of thumb is a gram per pound of lean body mass a day for growth. Most guys will think, oh, that's not enough or whatever for basic muscle growth, and it is. It absolutely is. Most guys are taking way too much protein and it's not being utilized, and you can end up on dialysis or something like that later on in life, and we don't want any part of that. When you're cutting down, that protein is going to go up, but for this video, I'm talking specifically about building muscle. You're going to want to structure your protein so it's around a gram. Now going into carbs, carbs is going to be a gram per pound of lean body mass on off days when you're not training, 2 grams on upper body muscle group training days. So if you're doing back and shoulders or chest or arms, something like that, you'd be at 2. On leg day, if you have multiple leg days, it'd be 3. Okay, because those type of workouts, or you may even have a back workout because it's a lot of muscles that's really difficult. Maybe you would up it to 3 on that day. So you're kind of going off of how much energy you'd be using during your training. Okay, now you go on into fats. Fats, I start at 0.4 grams per pound of lean body mass per day. Now, here is the kicker to make sure that you're not gaining fat when you're trying to build muscle. This is where most guys will lose it. They'll think that, okay, I'm not gaining weight, I'm gonna increase my carbs, or just calories in general. But most of the time it's carbs, because carbs are easy to consume, right? So they would start increasing their carbs, and what happens? All of a sudden, your body starts becoming a little bit more and more resistant to insulin. Or when carbs come into your system, insulin is generally spiked depending on how fast it's absorbed. And the more that stays in your system, your body's just like getting that signal over and over and over again, and it becomes resistant to insulin. And we don't want any part of this. That's when you're going to start gaining fat tremendously. You may gain a little muscle too, but you're going to be gaining a lot more fat if you keep raising up those carbs. So here's the key important fact I want to tell you. Fats are your determining factor for adding new mass. So you have your protein set, right? You have your carbs set based on the day. Now you have your fat set. You measure that over the course of 1 to 2 weeks and see what your body does. If you're gaining weight, keep it where it's at until it starts to slow. If you're not gaining weight, add 0.1 grams or even 0.2 grams of fat. I'd probably start with 0.1 since it's a little bit smaller per week. You know, you add in some extra oil or some peanut butter or something like that, and now all of a sudden you're getting those extra calories from a fat source and not all carbohydrates. So this helps keep you insulin sensitive, so you're using carbs effectively during your training. So I can go on to a whole nother video about all this stuff. I'm going to keep it super simple for you guys, so take those with you. That's the third principle. Number 4 is your recovery. Now a recovery, more than anything else, is if you combine it into a couple categories. You have sleep, obviously, you have hormone production, which kind of correlates with that, and then you have your stress levels. Now, if you're a person that's stressed out all the time or whatever, you're gonna have a hard time burning fat and building muscle. So this kind of goes back to the mindset part of it. Like, get your shit figured out, because otherwise you're gonna have a hard time in stress management, dealing with all that stress that sometimes comes with trying to live a bodybuilding lifestyle, build muscle, and having work and relationships and all that stuff too. So to go along with sleep for this, if you're not getting, I mean, it's relative to your type of work or what you do every single day, but generally I'm going to go off of the 8-hour mark. Most people will say that, you know, the 8-hour mark for me, even up to 9 is better for me. Some people can get 6. But to determine your number, like, you need to make sure that you're consistent with when you're going to bed and when you're waking up every single morning. If you can make that consistent almost every single day of the week, then your body is going to get on that cyclical approach. Like, it's going to be building muscle optimally over time as much as you can. The way I see it is like there's good and then there's optimal. And if we can optimize everything you're doing, then that's the best thing that we can do for you. So that's basically your recovery standpoint. If you're not recovering, you're not producing your hormones, the right enough of your hormones. So like the first couple hours of sleep, your growth hormone is going to be released, a lot of testosterone, cortisol is going to spike a little bit in the morning, which helps wake you up. All these things come into play. So that's just a general overview. If you're not giving time to your recovery and you're only sleeping a couple hours a night, you need to make sure you have this in alignment. So far we have your mindset, we have your training, we have your nutrition, and your recovery. Now, the last one, number 5, is what most people put first, and that's supplementation. And this drives me freaking nuts, and I can say this over and over again, but some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Someone will come to me and be like, hey, I want to build muscle. What supplements should I take? Like, how often does that happen? That's the first thing that everybody says. I'm like, whoa. wait a second. So in my mind, I have my 5 principles, right, that I'm teaching you. And this is the very last one that you should be worried about, because everything else has more importance in order for your overall goal up to that point. Most guys will start with like, oh, I need to go get a pre-workout and protein and BCAAs and all that stuff. Like, you know what? That stuff comes in later once you kind of test and see what food does for you. It's overall a part of your nutrition, yes, of course, but it only plays a small role. It helps you optimize what your nutrition is already doing. It's supplementing what your nutrition is already doing. Like, it's just adding to it. So don't focus on your pre-workouts yet. Don't focus on your post-workout protein, different things like that. As long as your food is where it should be, then you could start adding in your supplementation. And supplements don't have to be difficult at all. They don't have to be difficult. You can separate them into your pre-workout, your intra-workout, and post-workout. And actually, I think my very first video on YouTube was describing this. It was years ago. I think it was like 5 years ago or something like that. And I put a big old warning thing on there, like, yo, I was taking way too much creatine. I was taking a lot of stuff. And since that time, I'm going to be updating that video, so you guys can stay tuned for that, where what I do now based off of science in 2017, when I'm recording this video, what works now based off of science. So as you can see, I've progressed a little bit since then, put on about 20 pounds. So, but guys, there you have it. Those are my 5 principles. If you follow these 5 in order and you make sure that you have them down, you will build muscle. And what I want to leave you with is that you have to be able to fall in love with this process. If someone asks me my best piece of advice for building muscle, it's to fall in love with the process, all of it. To be able to cook all your food on, a couple times a week, whatever you need to do, to live that healthy lifestyle, to train really hard when you get in the gym, to have fun when you're doing it. These are the things that make it awesome and make it fun. So if you fall in love with the process, the people that I know that have done this have successfully gotten to their goals with building muscle. All of them have. And the ones that haven't, I mean, what can you guess? They're looking the exact same, if not worse, than what they did before. So, hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please leave a comment below. Any feedback or questions that you have, I'm happy to answer. And also, what I want to give you guys for watching this video all the way to the end is a free 30-day mass building program that I wrote. It includes a custom, well, not a custom, but a meal plan that you can maneuver around what you're doing right now in your daily life, or what meals you're actually having right now. So a full 30 days, 5 to 6 workouts a week, building muscle. Everything's listed in it. So all you have to do is click the first link under the description in this video, and it will take you right to the page where you can grab that for free. So thank you guys again for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.